Just 23 kilometers east of St. John lies the village of Willow, New Brunswick. Like many places in the province, the unassuming hamlet features tidy homes amongst pristine fields, forests, and streams. But the leafy St. John exurb has a fascinating historical claim to fame. Willow Grove was the site of one of the first significant Black refugee settlements in New Brunswick, an accomplishment recently recognized by Canada Post, issuing a stamp commemorating the location and its intrepid Black settlers. This is their story. In 1814, as the British are leaving the United States at the end of the War of 1812, they decree that any Americans who make their way to British ships or military posts will be taken in as British subjects and sent as free settlers to British possessions in either North America or the West Indies. Now, this parting shot by the British against the Americans resonated with a number of African Americans, mostly former slaves, who were looking to improve their situation during a deeply racist period in history. So, when the HMS Regulus arrived in St. John Harbor in 1815, its 371 ex-Black American passengers, having left their American troubles behind, disembarked as free persons to begin their lives in Canada. But life in the new land was anything but trouble-free. In 1817, in a bid for self-sufficiency, Black refugee William Flood successfully petitioned the House of Assembly for land grants on behalf of a number of his fellow refugees. This became the Willow Grove settlement. Pride of land ownership, however, was tempered by a few factors. Blacks were only given 3-year renewable certificates of occupancy on these properties, whereas white petitioners were automatically granted clear title to their lands. Blacks were required to pay to have their lots surveyed, whereas the province covered the survey costs for many non-Blacks. And Black lots were limited in size to no more than 55 acres.
The lot sizes were amazingly small for the Black folks, 50 to 55 acres of land that was mostly barren land.
Though it would take another 20 years for the province to grant the Black refugee landowners clear title to their land grants, they made the best of their acquisitions. From the 1840s on, things improved somewhat for Black refugees and their descendants in Willow Grove. With the help of the Reverend Edmund H. Duval, they built a church and a school, and even had a general store and post office there. Though the land was not suitable for large-scale farming, Black refugees persisted in establishing a community, and this Black community thrived for more than 100 years.
We'd get up in the morning before breakfast, go have a swim, then come back and have breakfast. And, there were so many things we could do when we were young, really. We went to the schoolhouse. It's burnt down now, but we used to play in the cow field next to the schoolhouse. And then in those days it was a one-room schoolhouse. And we had a great time with the kids. There's a good many people that came out of Willow Grove School. A good many when you think about the families that were black and white families that came out of there.
To honor the legacy of their ancestors, former Willow Grove residents and their families worked with PRUDE Incorporated in the 1980s to erect a replica of the Willow Grove Baptist Church, which burned down in 1931 on the old black settlement burial ground.
Now, my late husband, who was Jim Roach, his father, and another man, Mr. Wilford Shears, were the last two black people buried in that cemetery.
My grandfather was the last person, I think, to be buried in that graveyard, I think in 1941. And my grandmother and I, we used to go and put flowers in the spring and things over there and clear it around.
In subsequent years, and through the efforts of members of the New Brunswick Black History Society, commemorative stones and a cross sculpture have been erected on the site. And Canada Post's 2021 stamp honoring Willow Grove's Black refugees is the latest honor, a national honor for these stalwart Canadians.
The Roach's land, and I say the Leslie land, but it's the Thompson land, has never gone out of black hands. And those are the only two pieces of land up there that have never gone out of black hands. Never.